It's Tuesday, August 21st. Welcome to Pastor Bob Daly. I want to talk about sex today. That always gets your attention, doesn't it? But more specifically, I want to talk about premarital sex. Sex before marriage. And this is a hot subject. And a lot of people say, your views are archaic. They're not up to date. There are so many things that you have to take into consideration. And what about if I'm having sex with the girl that I plan on marrying? What's the big deal about having sex before marriage? Well, this is a subject that's hotly debated. And I understand, folks, that everybody has their opinions, and this is mine. Now, by the way, you can disagree with me if you'd like. It's okay. And I'm not saying that I'm always right. But here's some things I'd like you to consider. When the Bible talks about sexuality, it talks from a perspective of protection. Now, this is important. If you feel like God's up there just to ruin all of your fun, that's not what the Bible's all about. God gave us the Bible as our owner's manual. It tells us how we operate. God knows that there are some things that will help you to feel good about yourself and good about God and your relationship with Him and others. There are some things that will strengthen your relationship with that special person. And there's some things that will tear it down. And whenever God talks about those things, the things that He warns us about, the things that He says, please don't do this, there's a reason for it. And today I don't want to just talk about those scriptures, and notice I don't have scriptures flashing before you. I want to talk about some of the reasons behind it, because that's what I think you need to know. We are, whether we like it or not, we are very different from each other. And if I asked you to list the differences between men and women, you could list all the obvious physical things, but it's a little more difficult to list the emotional things because sometimes we're not quite sure what they are. But the emotional differences sometimes are huge. And we expect many times that the other person is feeling the same things that we are. Now, let me give you a generalization. And again, there are exceptions to everything. But generally speaking, women are a little more romantic, a little more emotional, a little more able to love unconditionally and to love a little quicker. Men, on the other hand, have this need to be connected with a woman, but a lot of the need is, the need that they're aware of is sexual, sometimes emotional, and very much this feeling of a warrior, a hunter, hunting for his prey, finding just that perfect woman, dating, trying to figure it out, and then finding the perfect one, and then getting married, and then it's over. A woman, on the other hand, begins to think about her wedding sometimes when she's just a little girl. She dreams of that day when she has the wedding and dreams of her future home with her husband and possibly children, and she has romance involved. And when this guy becomes romantic with her, because again, he's a hunter, and he realizes that the tools for his hunt are not, the gun and the bow and arrow, but rather flowers and candy, he does everything he can to get her attention. And then once he's gotten it, once he's married, he says, okay, I don't have to do that anymore, which usually surprises her because she's saying, what happened to him? Well, it's also this difference in sex as well. Before marriage, it really is up to a guy to protect his future wife, to protect her heart, to protect her emotions, to protect her virginity, and to not do anything that would cause her to feel unprotected and for that foundation to be removed. But sometimes sex gets in the way, and it's a very strong drive for most men. When a guy says, if you love me, you'll have sex with me, women, please don't fall for that, because it's not true. Honestly, if you love me, you won't have sex with me. And if I really loved you unconditionally and I really desired to protect you, then I wouldn't ask you either. But here's what happens after sex. And that's kind of what I want to talk about just a little bit. after sex, the guy says usually, wow, that felt really good. I can't wait to do that again. Now, he feels connected in some ways, but not nearly as connected as a woman feels. And afterwards, a woman says, wow, he just really showed me that he loves me. And she moves even closer to him. And many times after that happens, a guy says, wow, she's getting really clingy. And he begins to lose a little bit of emotion because he's feeling a little guilty. Especially if you're a Christian, you realize that the Bible says you shouldn't be doing this. And he feels somehow also that he's just violated something and he's not sure exactly what he's done wrong. So you have this guy that's not feeling good about himself. He's lost some self-confidence. He realizes that he hasn't protected her the way she needs to be protected. And she's feeling, because of all of that, a little more detached from him and a lack of trust. You see what happens here? You say, wait a minute, we're the exception to this rule. Can I just tell you that I've seen this happen over and over and over again? In fact, sometimes even after marriage. And I've even heard some women verbalize it and saying, you know, I just kind of feel like that if he had sex with me before we got married, then who's he having sex with now? The trust is not there. And, you know, the greatest thing, folks, to build trust before marriage is to not have premarital sex, to remove all of these things that happen because of it, and to realize that for just a few minutes of pleasure, you really suffer for it. The greatest thing you can possibly do is to give your wife, and women to give your husband, the gift of your virginity. If you wait for it, you not only have the sexual part of it, but you have the emotional and mental part as well. And if you don't violate those things, it is so much better when you finally do get married. I want to refer you once again to my series of podcasts called Mating, Dating, and Relating. You'll find them on YouTube. We talk more in depth about this there as well. God bless you. Have a great day.